Hey everybody, G Bear out here in the desert. Last day, I've been out here since the 23rd. I spent Memorial Weekend out here and I got a lot of work done. And I got a lot of other things done, but we'll discuss that at another time. Anyway, we're in the orchard here and I want to show you, I got a little bit of fresh growth on my little clone twig there. And all the other trees here are looking good. And show you over here my gala apples. They're a little on the dry leaf side, but that's because we've been having a lot of hot wind. I gave these a good soaking today, and a couple of days ago, Andy gave them a watering. Anyway, check the apples out on my tree. They seem to be happy. They're starting to plump up a little bit. And there's my other gala apple over there, and the fig has got its leaves back and growing, and it looks like I've got a couple of figs starting to come out on this thing right here. There's one there, one there. So I might even get a couple of figs off that. Anyway, come over here to the peach tree, and the peaches are looking good. Leaves are a little dried and burnt because of the hot, dry winds that we've been having. Right now, it is humid. And there's a plum tree. It's getting pretty green. I think these aren't going to produce for a year or two because they're still young and they're not clones. But check this out. Look at that horizon. It almost looks like it's raining over there. And it is humid. I'm telling you, right now I'm standing still and sweating, and I just got out of the shower. So it's pretty hot out here right now. Anyway, here we are back at the cherry tree. And it's still showing signs of life, but again, it's been hot and dry. The apricot and the plum and the garden over there, the kale's still up, the onions are still going. My cilantro has gone to seed, but that's okay. I'm going to move on down. I promised I'd leave the container open. You see my ATV out here. We had the trailer, and right now it's loaded down with compost, but we had the trailer out and we had some blue water barrels on it, or one blue water barrel on it, and Andy hauled it around and did watering that way. It was a little easier than running back and forth with the watering can. But I did promise I would get into the container with some light in here and show you how I've gotten things a little moved around. You can see I got a paint shelf back there. I got a shelf up here for my plant stuff, and I got a couple of water cans here, and I hung up the pipes and gutters over here. This is spare propane. That down there is my hydroponics chemicals. And I got a solar shower hanging here, which I hardly ever use because it'll burn you out here. It'll get way too hot. But I got a shelf up here where I keep all my tools, and then some hardware stuff that I might be able to use along the line. Then I've got my cleaning stuff over here, and soaps. All of these barrels are water down here, and they are full, and I'm holding those as reserve water. That black bucket's also full of water. When I want some hot water, all I have to do is set that black bucket out in the sun for a couple hours, and that stuff comes out as hot as the water out of your water heater at home. Anyway, I got one shelf here that's set up for plumbing. There's some shark bite fittings there. Those will be going into the cabin. I'll show you that in a little while. I got a lot done in there. I've got some temperature gauges here that will end up going in my solar water heaters. That's my solar shower head and the self-closing shower valve, just like MASH, where they pull the chain and get water. This is a battery-powered irrigation unit. That'll be getting hooked up in the future, and I got a solar-powered fountain pump here. That'll be used for irrigation on my hydroponics, so it'll run during the day when the sun's out. It'll pump my hydroponic fluids into my plants. And I want to get those set up because I can leave that running and I don't have to worry about watering. And if I'm gone for a week or two from up here, all that stuff can be doing its own thing. And when I come up here, I'll have fruits and vegetables that I can pick off of the vines. Anyway, this one is for electric. There's my MPPT controller. That's a hybrid controller, and this one connects the wind power up here. These two outer connections are for a big unit like this. And this is a big resistor, and it's actually like a heating element. It puts off quite a bit of heat when it gets hot. And what that's for is the wind generators, or wind turbines. When they get to spinning, they make electricity. The wind doesn't stop; it keeps on going, so it keeps creating electricity. Once the batteries are full, it's still creating electricity. So where's that electricity go? Well, it goes through that heating element. And that heating element will keep the batteries warm, or the battery room warm, during the winter time. In the summer, that extra electricity actually will connect through, I think I showed you these ones before, these barrels right here. You see I've got fill tubes on the side that show how much water's in them. But one of these has got a heating element in it. And that will heat hot water just by the unit spinning and the extra electricity going into there. Anyway, enough of that. I do have another hybrid controller here. This is 1224 volt, 300 watt wind, 500 watt solar. And that's a solid state unit. So I probably, that's a PWM, I probably just keep that for backup. And these are all 12 volt lights up here, things like that. And 12 volt alarm system going to be going on my little shed, things like that. Extra wire. There's my homemade wind turbine, and that does work. I just got to finish putting it together and get it on a wind swivel or a weather vane so that it turns itself into the wind and keeps creating. I've got a bug zapper up there and so forth. This is all plumbing PEX tube that will be being used on the next trip. Now back here, we just started sorting through this. We were digging through, I was looking for some things I needed. This is my big inverter right here underneath these towels. And this is a 32,000 watt inverter. That's a peak, but this one does, this does a peak surge to 32,000. That's 32 kilowatts. That's a lot of power. Anyway, that'll get hooked up. I got a whirlybird there. That's going to end up on this container to get the heat out of this container. It gets hot in here. There's my old homemade potbelly stove we used last winter. I got a can of high temp paint on there to brush that down and get it painted, but that's not priority. Extra propane storage back here and stuff like that. I got some plywood here left over from the roofing, but that's going to be for the battery cable, the battery bank shed that I'm going to put on the other side of my shed. I'll show you that later. Then I got another shelf here, and I started putting some of my other stuff on there. I got some salt down here and some cane sugar, so forth and so on. That's all for my canning. And then I took the microwave out of the motorhome and moved it over here because it hardly ever gets used, and I could use the counter space in there. So that's about it. I'll show you how I started getting some organization here. There's a coat rack that was a gift, and I've got that hanging up there. Moving on outside here, we're going to come around to, oh yeah, these are plants I brought up, and I was hoping to get another garden started over in this area and get all those into the ground and then run that irrigation, that battery powered irrigation off of this barrel so that they would get watered while I was away. But didn't have time for that. Had other things involved, and did have some wind gusts, gusty days that called for a lack of work and a little bit of sitting down. While I'm here, I did use some water out of this barrel, so let me get the cover back on it. My little multi-tool here for tightening these things down. Okay, I've got the maximum recording time, so I had to make this a two-part series. Anyway, I was starting to talk about my little hand tool here, and I made one of those for Andy too. They work on the blue barrels, they work on the big white barrels, they work on just about any water barrel and bung cap that you can think of. Anyway, let's head over here to the shed. As you notice, I started putting some trim around the doors and windows and that kind of stuff. And I got a screen door on it because the flies love to get inside these things and drive you nuts for some reason. I think that's what they live for. Anyway, I got a thermometer out here, and this door knocker was a gift from a friend. Her name is Vicky. She gave me that a while back along with a welcome mat for out here, but I'm not going to put the welcome mat down until I put the porch in, and then the welcome mat will go here in front of the door. Yeah, but right now it's showing that it's about 86 degrees out here, and there's a slight wind blowing. We'll step inside here, and hey, look, we got some kitchen cabinets put together and in place. You remember those? I got one hung up there on the wall, and it's only temporary, but I put plywood in the wall where anything heavy is going to hang and fastened it to the insides of the studs. Now that's where the microwave will go. Then I took one of these cabinets, an upright, and I turned it on its side, and that's going to be where the microwave mounts. And this will be above the stove. My 30-inch stove will go right down in here. You can see I've got some wiring started, and this FortiFlash is a waterproof flashing. That's over the metal flashing that where the wood is split in two different pieces, and that'll keep me airtight in here. I also got down to the corners, drilled a small 3/8 hole, got some expando foam down inside of there, and foamed up all four corners. The reason I did that was, unlike 2x4 wood, these are hollow, and as you can see through the hole there, you can see right through there. There's where they come together at the bottom there. This cluster of 2x4s has a gap area which lets air in. So I like foaming those up and keeping that cold air out, especially since I'm probably going to be sleeping in here for the winter. Anyway, my refrigerator, that's the refrigerator outlet. I ran out of wire, but that's the refrigerator outlet, and that'll go there. And then this cabinet up here will lift up like a motorhome type cabinet, and I'll put a latch on there so that this holds open. Then I got my electricity box up here for where the microwave will plug into. And then I'm going to vent out the wall right there for the stove exhaust. So that's pretty cool. Now, one other thing, see I got my sink in here, and I got to get some guck remover to get the stickers off. They've been on there too long. And I got my faucet in, and I got my soap dispenser in. But this sink base here is not a sink base. I bought that because I wanted to keep down the size. That's 30-inch instead of 36-inch. But it came with a drawer right there in that opening, and that's the drawer face right there. I didn't need a drawer there because I'm putting the sink in, but so it wouldn't go to waste, what I did was I modified the cabinet and I moved the drawer down to the bottom. So now I have a pull-out to get to my stuff that I store under the sink. And what's going to happen up here on this door face is I will end up putting this on here, but they have what they call tilt outs, and this thing will tilt out like this. And then I got to get these little storage trays that mount on the inside of it, so I can keep the sponges and things like that, maybe a bottle opener or whatever. Just a handy little storage area, so utilize the space as best I can. As you can see, I've got a small kitchenette here, so I'm going to have to make use of the best space. Now back there I'll have my toaster, which would be close to my stove, so that when I'm making breakfast in the morning, my toaster is right there. I don't have to run back and forth across. And then over there I will plug in my coffee maker and grinder for my coffee beans. And then over here, this one will be for a blender and food processor. Sitting right in that corner. I can take those out whenever I want to. Now this will be a small canned goods pantry right up here, just on the top two shelves. I utilized one of the shelves that came out of that other cabinet because I didn't need it since it was laying on its side. And now I've got 3 shelf spaces in here. The bottom here where the electrical boxes are sitting for right now, that will be where I keep my plates and my coffee cups and things like that. And then up here I'll keep canned goods and stuff. Now I'm going to be putting a shelving unit across from the bottom base of that cabinet across to this one, and then another one all the way across the tops of them. The tops will be even, so that I'll have a shelf all the way up in there. And on tops of the cabinets I'll store stuff that I don't use very often, you know, paper towels, things like that. And then the bottom shelf there, I'll keep things like spices and so forth and so on that I need quick access to. And then I'll be doing something like that over the top of the refrigerator also, so I'll have room there. See all my writing here on the walls. Bank A, batteries outside. I'm going to have an outside room out there. That'll be 4 foot by 6 foot, about the size of a regular bathroom. And that's where all of my electronics and stuff will be. I'm going to have a 12-volt J box out there because, as you see, that's marked here, 12-volt DC. All my lighting in here is going to be 12-volt low voltage. I'm not going to use any of my 120 voltage. There's my electrical panel. I won't use any of my 120 voltage for lighting. That's going to be to run things like refrigeration and so forth and so on. And even this TV up here it's a small TV for right now, but this is 12 volt. And for the best part, that's really all I need. I don't need a gigantic TV. I don't like watching a lot of TV. I do like to catch up on the news. And there's a station out here that plays Huell Hauser videos you know, California Gold. I love watching that and seeing all the places he goes. Anyway, there's a temporary antennas just taped to the wall up there because this TV was working this weekend while Andy was staying in here. I stayed in the motorhome. You can see I got my tools in here and some of my chairs and that stuff. A couple of solar panels. I'm going to be putting sheets of cardboard over these windows on the inside here so that if anybody happens in and they peek in the windows, they don't see anything. Out of sight, out of mind. Anyway, back over this way is my light switches. I've got an indoor and an outdoor switch there. And the box is going to be right there above the door. That's so that when I come in the night, in the dark, I can flip that switch on and have light in here so I don't trip over things. Over there is my tankless water heater. That'll be getting piped in next trip. And that will tie into the sink water, of course. And then I'm going to run a water line down below there. That green is a ground rod or a ground wire, goes out to the ground rod driven in the ground outside. Then right over in that little bay right there, you'll see a bag at the bottom. That's a Shark Bite water stop, 1/4 inch, and that's going to be for the ice maker. So my refrigerator can make ice for me and so forth and so on. And anyway, so you can see I put the plywood in the walls for hanging the heavy stuff. And then right there will be where my wall heater will go, between those two studs. And it's going to go piped out of the wall at the top. Now this next bay, right behind the door here, is going to end up being a doorway, a little 24-inch doorway like you would find in a small cabin or whatever. Just a little 24-inch door going into my bathroom. And if we step outside here, my trailer's here right now. I just hooked it up so I can haul it with me. But on this wall, this one that has no windows, 4 feet out, I'm going to build another cabin just like this one. That's going to end up becoming the bedroom. Well, I guess I'm long-winded today. I'm in part 3 right now. Anyway, I'm going to have a full shed over there. Same size as this one, same shape and everything. Then there'll be a 4-foot space in between the two, which I will close off and turn into a bathroom. So the bathroom will be back on that side. Let me move around the back here real quick. Squeeze between the trailer here. And over here is the kitchen window, of course. And then I'm going to have plumbing right about where that metal strip is that runs along the back wall. And it's going to be enclosed in a box. So all my plumbing is easily accessible. When I come over to this point, I'm going to set it up to where I'm ready to tie in a shower drain and a sink drain. So this wall right here is going to have some exterior piping on it. But what I'm going to do is put a facade on there, a little fake facade between the shower area and that. And then right up here on the wall will be my shower valve, or my shower head, and my shower valves right here. And the water heater's right on the other side of this wall. So I'll get instant hot water at my shower, and that saves water. You don't waste a lot trying to get it hot. Anyway, those are the plans. You can see my little solar light up there in my flag holder. We had a flag out. And then I got a light above the door. It's already got a 12-volt DC bulb in it. All I've got to do is get some solar power out here and some batteries. That's going to be coming up pretty soon. As you can see, I've got one part of the pole for my wind generator up. It's going to go up another 10 feet higher than that when I put the wind generator on. And I stuck one of those solar lights at the top of it. It's pretty cool at night when that lights up. And then there's my solar panel existing right there. And I was going to originally put the other one right here. But this is going to end up being a little tiny storage shed. I may even make it a pump house because the water's going to come right past it. And then I'm going to put another slab over there where my second set of arrays, solar arrays, will go. And the reason I did that was because I miscalculated slightly on the angle of the sun. And I thought the sun came up right down there over that mountain, where it actually comes up right over there over those towers. And that means that these would, in this position, would be in the shade for a few hours in the morning. I didn't want that. So I'm going to have a second one out here. And at this time of the year, when the sun is high in the sky, these will flip up to a flat position like this, because the sun passes straight over them, sort of on an angle here. But they'll catch the most sun that way. And then in the winter, when the sun is in the southern sky over there, then I'll tilt these back down into this position so that they catch the best sun that way. All right, that's about it. There was one other little tidbit of interest that I just wanted to share with you. I was having a discussion at one time with Andy about how high we are on this property above the 395 State Route 395 down there where the trucks are running. So what I did was I took out my transit, my site level, and I set it right here in this position, right here in front of the container. And I set it for level, and I took a shot down to that tower right down there. And believe it or not, you see where the hip is almost on the top third of the tower up there. That's how high this level was right here. Now, of course, my site level was 5 foot above it, so we dropped down, which is halfway between that hip and the next horizontal brace on that tower. So I went down there and we looked at it with Andy and I. And then yesterday when I went to town to get some things from Home Depot, I got out and I have a laser rangefinder. And I got right underneath the unit and I took a shot up to that horizontal brace. And believe it or not, that's 20 yards. So that's 60 feet. Right where I'm standing is 60 feet higher than that roadway down there. Just thought you'd like to know about that little interesting tidbit. Well, I got to get things locked up and get out of here. So G-Bear signing off.